So buyers have all sorts of contingencies that allow them to back out of a real estate contract under certain circumstances. But you're probably wondering, what protections do sellers actually have? In Colorado, sellers generally have far fewer termination rights than buyers. Once a seller accepts an offer, they usually cannot simply change their mind, even if a better offer comes along later. There are situations where sellers may have contractual or legal rights to terminate, such as a buyer default, certain seller financing situations, which are fairly rare, or mutual agreement between the parties. Many sellers assume once a contract is signed, the transaction is basically done. In reality, much of the real negotiation often happens after the property goes under contract. Hi, I'm Lisa Mutschler, broker owner of Expert Real Estate in Arvada, Colorado. This is why it's essential to hire an experienced listing agent who knows how to properly vet offers, have the right conversations, and ask the right questions, identify potential issues before they become problems, negotiate seller safeguards into the contract, and strategically guide sellers through a contract that gives buyers significant contingency protections. There are often ways to strengthen a seller's position and improve leverage during the transaction, but many agents simply don't know the strategies available to help protect their sellers. One important strategy involves seller disclosures and supplemental documents uploaded into the MLS before buyers even submit an offer. If buyers have access to important information about the property up front, it becomes much harder later for them to argue they didn't know about certain conditions when they agreed to the purchase price. This can strengthen a seller's negotiating position during inspection negotiations and reduce the likelihood of buyers demanding repairs or price reductions for issues that were already disclosed. Appraisal issues are another area where strong listing agents help protect sellers. If a property appraises below the contract price, the lender generally bases the loan amount on the lower appraised value, not the purchase price. That means the buyer may suddenly need to bring significantly more cash to closing. Because of this, experienced listing agents should be discussing with the lender whether the buyer has the financial ability to cover an appraisal gap if the property appraises low. In highly competitive sellers markets, especially when multiple offers may push the price above recent comparable sales, buyers will sometimes include what's called an appraisal gap provision. This means the buyer agrees in advance to bring additional cash to closing if the appraisal comes in low. These provisions are often capped at a certain dollar amount, so buyers still have some protection if the appraisal comes in substantially lower than expected. And importantly, sellers don't have to wait for buyers to propose appraisal gap coverage. In many situations, sellers can propose these protections themselves through a counterproposal. Every transaction is different, and the right strategy depends on your specific goals, property, market conditions, and negotiating position. I'm Lisa Mutschler of Expert Real Estate, helping sellers navigate Colorado's buyer-heavy contract environment with stronger strategy, better preparation, and smarter negotiations. Reach out anytime if you'd like guidance on preparing, positioning, and negotiating the sale of your home.